Liz used to be an introvert, but now he's come out of his shell in the last few months since we've been on the road, and he wants to go say hi to everybody. And then after a while, boom, he's done. Time to go back, take a nap. And Lucy is just kind of on most of the time because she's under here doing whatever she's doing right now. Melissa's going to talk about some environmental concerns when we get to that. But when she talks about environmental concerns as far as heat-related, keeping your dogs in the car and how to mitigate any heat or cold-related types of things for your pets, one of the things we have found extremely helpful, we have a travel trailer, and we do tend to sometimes be in areas where it can get hot. I love our little nimble here. I don't know if you can really see it very well. It's just a little small device that runs off cell service. There's some other ones out there as well, including Marcel. These both operate on a cell network. I pay about $100 a year. It can be more expensive. Oh, dogs are always going to steal the show, aren't they? I've seen it actually more expensive, but I think I found like a Black Friday deal. So when you look at a pet monitoring device, monitoring the temperatures in either your car, your van, your RV, this has been really awesome because we can leave them back in the RV for a bit and not worry about what type of temperatures they might be facing. The app goes right to my cell phone, and you can set the perimeters on whether the minimum and the upper temperature's there. So huge peace of mind with that. There are some other ones as well, some cameras that run on Wi-Fi. The problem with some of those is that you have to have Wi-Fi. So it can be a little hard when you're out at spots. I mean, Quartzsite right now, there's so many people that both Wi-Fi and cell service are iffy at best. So it's not the most awesome, reliable source for relying on that. But there's cameras like Furbo that you can actually see your dogs, which is kind of cool. Don't have one of those yet, but if you have like a jetpack or a MiFi, that would probably be the best way to actually monitor that, those type of things. There's a couple of apps that I absolutely love, and I can definitely expand on these afterwards. Since we're traveling all over the place, we really want to know what's out there for our dogs and how do we get services. So the ones I have loaded up are Bring Fido. Oh, she wants to get on everybody's lap. Bring Fido, which is a pet-friendly businesses. So if you want to check out a brewery or something and check out if they're dog-friendly, a lot of times they'll have that information there, as well as hotels, restaurants. I found the Quartzsite Dog Park on Bring Fido, so that's a good source. I also, excuse me 1 second. Aren't pets awesome? The other one I like is Pet Connect. So when we travel, if there's an emergency, I really want to know where the closest vet is. And oftentimes I will go to that kind of first time I get to a new place and just kind of mark off, hey, is there a vet in Quartzsite? What are their hours in case there is some sort of emergency comes up? Now, how many of you actually have a first aid kit in your vehicle for yourselves? How many have a first aid kit for your pet? Yes, there are some hands out there, awesome. There's an app you can get as well, and it's called Pet First Aid. It's actually done by the American Red Cross. So when you're out in the boonies or just even here where it could take, a good half hour sometimes to get to a vet, having that immediate first aid app on your phone can be really helpful. Another app is Pupper, and that's Puppr. It's got some really great training device on there. I think I could be maybe using this right now. And does anybody use rover.com? I actually used to be a pet sitter for Rover, and when I'm looking on the Rover app, rover.com last night, just to see if there was anybody in the area that's doing Rover sitting, there's actually a few people in the Quartzsite area, so if you did need to do overnight boarding for your dog, if something came up, you could actually go to rover.com, and I have found that to be a really useful app. Keeping your pets healthy on the road is kind of obviously a big topic, and probably one of the biggest reasons you're here. How do you keep them healthy while on the road? Well, the first thing obviously is getting your vaccinations done, including Bordetella. You may not ever think that you're going to board your dog. However, I think Bob Wells actually said this in a video too, that he didn't have a Bordetella or something like that, and he needed to go fly somewhere and board his dog. So having that Bordetella, if you do have to board your dog, if you have your own emergency, and just making sure you are current on all of those vaccinations all the time. Reducing stress. There's some dogs that can be quite stressed out. Lucy is actually a little stressed right now for whatever reason. She's usually just great on my lap, but she sees her other mama over there, and she's like, nah, I think I'd rather be over there, but I'm keeping her over here. So she's a little antsy pants girl right now. But reducing stress, if you know your dog's personality really well, you can see those signs of stress and find ways to reduce that stress. Whether they need a break from the road, whether they need food and water. These guys are absolutely awesome at letting us know when they need food and water. They will never, ever, ever let us forget a mealtime or when they need water. So they have a way of letting us know what they need. We just sometimes need to listen a little bit better to them than we do sometimes, but they're pretty good at letting us know. We also keep them current on their flea and tick medicine. We use NexGard ourselves, and heartworm. So as we travel around different areas, there's different geographical things you have to worry about. Heartworm is starting to make a play in Washington. We haven't had to worry about it. We do spend some time up there. That's basically where we're originally from. But now that we're traveling a lot more, we do have them on HeartGuard and that type of stuff. Because one of the biggest things in this area is valley fever. Is that something you were going to talk about? Okay, so I won't even talk about that. I will definitely let Melissa talk about those types of geographical issues there. And keeping them healthy on the road, definitely get them as much exercise as they need. Some dogs, if you're going to get a new dog, might really want to look at what breeds need less exercise or more exercise depending on your personality and how much you're willing to get out there. Dog parks are great if you don't want to take them for long hikes or walks because they can go run around. I've heard the one in Quartzsite is great because there's a little dog park and a big dog park. These two little guys get a little bit overwhelmed with big dogs sometimes, so we love the ones that have little dog parks and they're quite sociable in there. Saving money on pet meds. I found a good deal on 1-800-PET-MEDS, and this is the first year we've actually gone that route. We got a prescription from our vet, and then right around Black Friday, 1-800-PET-MEDS had a really good deal on both the flea and tick medicine and the HeartGuard, and bought a year's supply, which, as you can imagine, is a little pricey, but saved quite a bit. And I don't have to worry about it now for a whole year. I have a whole year supply of flea and tick medicine and their HeartGuard. Costco, you can also, if you are somewhere where there's a Costco, you can also get their prescription filled there. Sometimes I'll just with 1-800-PET-MEDS, they just called my vet, and the vet said, yep, they're all good. They've had their year exam, which you want to keep up on as well. And then it was pretty easy, and they sent it to where we were staying in our hometown, and we're good for the road for a whole year on all that stuff, which is great.
Hi, I'm Melissa, and we've been traveling for 5 years, I believe we've been in our truck camper with my dog, Urian. And I'm going to talk about ways to keep our pets safe in the desert. Keeping your dog well hydrated, something we all know, but it can happen really quickly. You should have water in several locations, not just one, because you never know where they're going to be. And refill the bowl often. And to look for signs of dehydration, they'll be lethargic, their eyes will be sunken, they'll lose their appetite, they'll have dry eyes, they might act depressed. If you think your dog is dehydrated, try to gently lift the skin on the back of your dog's neck between his shoulder blades, and the skin should immediately return to its normal position. If your dog is dehydrated, the skin will remain pinched. If the dog is panting and there's no saliva, your dog is dehydrated. And there's ways to rehydrate your dog, such as give some flavorless Pedialyte, which is the same thing that you give children when they're sick. Mix the supplement with your dog's water to help restore essential electrolytes and minerals that are lost. Give the dog some chicken or beef bouillon broth But see, to me, there's so much salt in that, I don't know if that's really a good idea. But the hearty flavors will appeal to your dog's sense of smell and will entice them to drink. The broth will not only provide her with nutritional value, but it will also help rehydrate the body. You can also offer your dog small amounts of ice chips to keep them hydrated. Sometimes dogs can tolerate ice chips better than water. Giving ice chips several times throughout the day to help maintain their hydration. Also mix small amounts of canned wet food with their daily kibble to increase hydration. Canned wet food has significant more water content than dry, which makes sense. And you can give your pet some extra hydration. We want to keep our dogs safe from predators, and we all want to keep our dogs away from predators such as coyotes, wolves, cougars, scorpions, rattlesnakes, javelinas, and if you're in the forest, bears can be a problem. If you live in an area where wild predators frequent the terrain, they can pose a danger to your dog. You can, however, take steps to ensure the safety of your dog and still live in the wildlife around you. Is he like running away and visiting people? Come here. You need to know the local wildlife in your area and know what you need, and need to know what to keep your dog safe in order to protect him. Establish boundaries. Provide safe boundary areas for your dog to play. A fenced or enclosed play area is a great idea whenever possible. Just be aware that some predators can still get into an enclosed area by scaling or jumping fences. It's best not to let your dog out unsupervised. If that isn't possible, keep him on a leash when on walks. Don't let your dog run off leash where wild animals roam free. No matter how fast he can run, how rough he can fight, and what survival skills he has, if you let your dog wander off leash, you're taking a chance that he will get injured or killed. Dogs have instincts for self-preservance, but they are used to a tame life in the human world, not life out in nature. The survival skills of a wild predator are fine-tuned, and for its survival, don't expect your dog to know everything there is to know about surviving out in the world. As his owner and companion, you're responsible for his safety. It's hardly realistic to expect your tame dog to understand the dangers of interacting with wildlife. A coyote, for example, may seem to befriend your dog to lure him out to the band that surround and trap him. Some coyotes become accustomed to pets and may actually like to seem to play with them, but make no mistake, they are wild and the instinct can take over no matter what breed your dog you have or how big he is. Up against a group of wild coyotes or a wildcat, he can be overpowered. Remember, these wild animals are just trying to survive. They're not being bad, but if they come after your pet, they are simply doing what comes naturally. Don't encourage your dog to be friendly with predatory life. Teach him to behave with the local predators when they become around. It may seem endearing to watch them interact in a friendly manner, but you're setting your dog up for possible dangerous interaction. Your dog needs to know the dangers of the intruder. The last thing you want to hear is the triumphant cry of a band of coyotes with a successful kill.
I'm Lynn, and this is Fixation, a good border collie name, Fix. Yes, you babe. In the breakout session, I'm going to be giving CGC, Canine Good Citizen tests. And I thought I wanted to use this time to talk about what should a polite dog in public know, according to a lot of different sources. Angie talked about this a little bit. Basically, we all want our dogs not to interfere with or annoy anyone. That's why the welcome mat's out, when we don't cause trouble. So We all have different expectations about what that is. The AKC set down about 25 years ago 10 simple tests that they thought that any dog should be able to pass to be welcome in public. There's basic temperament tests. Can they be around strange noises and strange sights without bolting or becoming fearful? Do they have the basic temperament to recover from being startled? Can a stranger interact with you without your dog becoming alarmed or endangering them or frightening the person or actually jumping on them, acting in any way untoward or uninvited? As Angie said earlier, we don't want our dogs to approach people without the people inviting them first. And dogs will read any move as an invitation, as we all know, or at least a social dog will. We look for basic training. Can they sit? Can they down? Can they come when they're called? Can they stay? We look for safety. Can they be handled? Can someone pet your dog? Can you take your dog to the groomer and will they tolerate being brushed and handled? Can a vet or a vet tech look at their ears, look at their eyes, lift their paws? Which reminds me, we do have someone out by the front gate, Donna, who's doing free nail trims for any dogs. Check her out later. But being able to have the dog accept being physically handled by a stranger. And then finally, if you collapse somewhere, can a paramedic hold your dog while you're loaded into the ambulance? Can they stand 3 minutes separation without you in sight? And can they pass by another friendly dog without interfering or pulling you over? Those kinds of things. So those are a synopsis of the 10 basic tests that the AKC says that any dog, whether AKC registered or purebred or whatever, should be able to do.